Hello and welcome to Homeschool Together Reviews if you have a chance. Hit subscribe and like down below and help you find more reviews in your feed, in your YouTube feed. Today we're going to be talking about the Evan Moor Skill Sharpeners Geography Grade 1 Workbook. That's a mouthful, but these group workbooks I love. I have a ton of them. You can see over my left shoulder here. I love using these to help fill in those subjects. You know, we're spending so much time reading and doing math in our social studies curriculums, doing history and science. You know, when do we have time to fit in the art and the geography and everything? I love using workbooks to help us fill in those I feel like the missing gaps in our homeschool. If you have a morning basket or you're on the go, if you find yourself on the go a lot during the week, whether it's to sports practices or maybe to your co-op or like a swim meet or whatnot, and you want to get a little bit of learning in for your, one of your second or third or fourth child, and you need to have a little workbook with you, these Skill Sharpener books are great. I love this book because it teaches the kind of those entry-level geography concepts through the eyes of a child, things that they can identify in their own community. These early workbooks really focus on things that children can see on a daily basis. When you're driving around town, you're going to school, some type of school event or something of that nature. These workbooks work great. And so I want to go ahead and hop down into this, give you a full review of it, and see what's inside the Skill Sharpeners book. So here we are in the Evan Moor book, the Skill Sharpeners Grade 1. Really great about a lot of the Evan Moor books, the Skill Sharpeners books, is they give you all the various different tranches of topics that you can cover and then tell you which levels you have to move on to. So if you're in a pre-K, K, first grade, second grade, they go ahead and give you those lists of those books. So I really love how they kind of like give you a lot of that information. On the back of these books, if you find them at like a Barnes & Noble, I tend to go to Barnes & Noble to get these because I can just get them on demand. They give you a lot of great information and give you some insight on, oh yeah, I'm kind of having some trouble with this other skill or this other problem. A lot of great information on the back of these books regarding that. But here we're talking about Geography, Grade 1, Skill Sharpeners. Again, focusing on the map skills, there's a lot of projects and activities focusing on places around where the learner may actually see, whether it's a farm or a fire station or a school or a grocery store, really identifying those local ideas within this book to help drive home the idea of geography, things that are around the world nearest to us, and expanding ever more. We've done the K book. I've done the first grade book here with my daughter a couple of years ago, and it was a really nice thing for me to put into my morning basket to get a page or two every day and kind of warm up the brain. It was a really nice way to kind of do that. So in these books, they give you a really nice overview on the themes. So typically it's about 5-6 themes you can expect, sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a little less. And within each one of those themes, they have a sub-concept that they're trying to drive home. So for example, in this first theme, it's the world in spatial terms. So what is a map? And they'll have some activities and driving home a concept of what is a map. Then finding places on the map, finding the map keys, helping me find my way. That's directional, cardinal directions. What is a globe? And so they keep expanding on those concepts. Then we have places in regions, so world maps, state maps, weather maps. We have a small section here in the physical systems, land and water on the map, being able to tell the difference. How humans interact with that map, so population, supermarket, community helpers. And finally, the environment and society, kind of breaking up those concepts of farms, the tourist map, and natural resources. And so each and every one of these is a section. Now, each section is broken up into multiple things, and it's great that the book explains that to you. So each and every one of those sub-themes that we saw here, so let's say the farms theme here, and they'll tell you what concept you're trying to teach. So people change the physical environment. And the skills you're going to learn is applying geography concepts, read geography words, visual discrimination, apply content vocabulary in context sentences, and apply geography concepts in context. So that's a mouthful, a little bit of a word salad there, but they will show you exactly those concepts in these following ways. So the first thing you're going to get is a reading section, maybe a page or two on exactly that. Then there's going to be some visual literacy, where they kind of do some illustrations and maps and pictures and things maybe you have to do. They'll then talk a little bit about vocabulary, and very often they'll do a word search. There may be some vocabulary that needs to be added into a sentence. So you can kind of see this, this workbook is bringing in a little bit of handwriting, a little bit of spelling, and you can even do some art and drawing. Real nice way to kind of flesh out multiple skills, even though it's just talking about geography. You're doing a lot more than that. And then finally, there's a little bit of a hands-on activity at the end of that section. So the farm section would have all 4 of these. And so will the tourist map, and so will the natural resources. So you're getting a lot of content here in about 160 pages. So let's go ahead and hop into a good example of what you'll see. So what we're going to do is we're going to hop into the population section, 88, and we'll go ahead and jump to that. But before we do that, we'll kind of look at the spine of this book, and you can see the book is, maybe you can get that on the camera, it's broken up into the various colors that pertain to the colors of the overarching themes that then talk about the individual concepts. So when I flip to that, you'll see this is in kind of a purple color, and then you'll see this purple section is that. The previous section was an orange section, so you can see that there's an orange element there. Now the first section they highlighted here, which is that first, the reading. So these are things that you can, if you have an advanced reader, you can have them read it. Otherwise you can read to them, identifying certain interesting terms or concepts, whatever that might be. Again, you're also moving through another little bit of a section, talking about an image, descriptions, finish the sentences. So a lot of times I'll like highlight certain words that I think she might need to know here. So I would like to live in a what? Oh, a town. Well, where do I have that word town? And you can look through here and find it, and then they can do some handwriting work. The population is in your town small. Okay, where do they have small? Oh, okay, so small. And you'll be able to use the words in the context. Very cool. Then we have some visual literacy. So here we're talking about a state. So we're talking about specifically the state of Arizona. My daughter drew some pictures and some people. And then we go ahead and read about this, and then go ahead and answer a little bit of visual literacy. So here they're asking to circle the town in green. So the smaller town has the smaller dot. The larger town in Phoenix has a bigger dot. And we go ahead and do that. And so she had to circle that, draw one person near the small town, draw 3 people near the big city. So she went ahead and did that, and then a little bit of vocabulary. Moving beyond that, we have obviously the word search, and you'll see these kind of return. You'll see a lot of things match through each and every theme. These word searches is one of them. A lot of times these activities can vary, but there are some activities that will repeat, which I don't really like as much, but obviously I can see where the importance of finding words and looking for spelling and things of that nature is fine, but they do have a lot of variety with returns to the hands-on activity. So here, again, we're reading about this town, the Lopez family, and they live in a population of 850,000. This little family here, and obviously there's a page we tore out that we had to cut, and then she had to glue these onto the page and then match the description and the numbers. So a little bit of math and number recognition kind of built in there as well. And then we start a new concept. So back to the human systems. This would be the next concept, which would be the supermarket. And you could see here where we're focusing on the supermarket. And again, we're reading about what a supermarket is, talking about products, talking about words with respect to the supermarket. The vocabulary, again, another perforated page we had to tear out and do a little bit of an activity here and be able to glue things on. And then when we get to the next page, we're starting community helpers. And you can see that pattern just continues to go on and on. But you can see the the reading elements here change from theme to theme. Sometimes there's these matching, but they're not always the same. Vocabulary is a little different here on this one. And then our hands-on activity, again, was cutting and gluing and finding words, drawing pictures. So you see some elements return and repeat, but sometimes they don't. I do love the variety that they have in these books, and it goes ahead and wraps up. So in about 150 pages, 140 pages, and if you do have some questions, they do have a nice answer key here in the end. If you want to know if you're confused or there's a question about an answer, they have every page with every answer given to you at the end of the book. So that was our walkthrough through the Evan Moor Geography Grade 1 Skill Sharpeners book. It's a great little book to put into your morning basket, to put into your homeschool as something just you maybe want to do a couple pages a week or a couple pages here and there. Super cheap, super affordable. You can find these online for $10 to $12, or sometimes there's sales. You can get it even cheaper. I love these books to fill in these gaps. A lot of times we're asking ourselves these questions: when do I get to this subject? Or if I'm looking at my Common Core requirements, or I'm looking at my state requirements and I'm seeing that I got to do geography. Well, how do I do geography? That's a little challenging. A simple workbook can check that box, give your kid the skills to do that. And it's also something really nice to do if you need a little bit of a break, or if you need to work with another child on some other thing that you're doing, reading, math, or something that has to be more one-on-one. You can give this activity book to a learner and ask them to go ahead and do it. The hands-on activities are fairly straightforward. The reading activities are fairly easy. Some of the vocabulary sections are fairly easy. You have to gauge that with how good your reader is at first grade, but I found these to be very helpful. I love them. They're super easy. They're super affordable, and it helps me check that box to know that I'm doing the thing I need to do to a satisfactory level for an affordable price. So I hope this walkthrough helped you in making a good decision. I love these Evan Moor books. I've got a lot of them. You can see them right there. And I hope this helps you make a good decision on helping to fill in those gaps in your homeschool to make it more well-rounded.